What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Beginner's Guide to Guardians of the Rift. New minigame that came out, minigame that makes runecrafting way less painful. It's actually kind of fun to do, and the XP rates are not that bad, so let's jump into how to get this done. This is going to be done in a group setting on the group world, which is currently 302, but I believe in the next week or so they plan on making a designated Guardians of the Rift world, but in a group setting because you can be a little more lackadaisical with what you're doing. I'll explain that in a moment. But what you're going to want to have first is you have to do the Temple of the Eye quest, and what's required of that is you have to do rune mysteries, you have to do the Enter to the Abyss mini quest, then you have to have 10 rune crafting. Quest is pretty easy to knock out, and it does explain how to do the minigame, but you want to get that done. The only other thing is you do want to look at your rune crafting level because you will only be able to make the runes in which you have the rune crafting level 4, and you will need the requirements to do so. So if you want to do law runes, you have to have done Troll Stronghold. Death runes, you have to do Morning Ends Part 2, and then you just have the appropriate rune crafting levels up to Bloods. Bloods are the highest runes that you can do in the minigame so far. Other items you will need for it is you are going to need a chisel, and then if you have any rune pouches, you're going to want to bring those along as well. Now note that to fix your rune pouches, you are going to have to be using NPC contact off the Lunar Spellbook. So you'll have to have Lunar Diplomacy done for that and the runes in your bank because you can't get astral runes from this unless you get lucky from the drop mechanic. We'll see in a bit. But you want NPC contacts so you can repair your rune pouches. Otherwise, if you don't have it, you can just run with damaged rune pouches. You won't be able to do as much, but it's still better off than nothing. Otherwise, you'll want as much graceful as you can have, as much as you do have, and then whatever your best Varrock armor set is, because there is some mining done in this minigame. And the Varrock armor does count towards that. So make sure to bring both those. You do a bunch of running, but your run doesn't really drain, so not having full graceful generally is not an issue. Having that Varrock top is going to be much more beneficial to you. You also want the best pickaxe that you can use. Now, you don't really need to use a crystal pickaxe. It's going to be too costly for this, so dragon pickaxe down to whatever you have. Just bring the best one. All right, so I was trying to think of how to go through this, and I think the best way is just to go through a run and talk it over while we do it. So first thing you're going to do when you enter is you're going to grab 10 of the weak cells off of the table, and then you're going to run over to the bottom rocks and get ready to mine. Once the timer in your chat box is done, start mining, and you are just going to mine until the first portal spawns. That will be indicated not only by a dialogue line, but also in this tool set we have on the left, you will see a portal open up, and then there will also be a dialogue box down below. The reason we use these portals as much as possible is because what we're mining now, you have to craft into the essence to use for rune crafting. In those portals, you mine a different type of downed element, I believe, and that gives you the actual essence itself that you will need, and it also gives you in chunks of 4 or more, depending on what your Varrock armor spawns, so you get them incredibly quickly. So what this does is we usually can get about 150 shards to use later down the line, and it'll stock us up for that, but we will run to the portal, and the first set of runecrafting we do will be with these. So fill up your rune pouches, and then fill up again, and then use the orb to exit. Now, the runes in which you're currently able to craft will be in the top left shown. The layout here is the same layout as the Abyss. If you know it, you'll know where to go. Otherwise, they're going to make them brighter in the future, but you'll see the glowing colors around the altars that you can use. Just click on it and it'll teleport you to the altar, just like in normal RuneScape. It's the same altars, and go ahead and runecraft all of them. Now, with the two indicators you see on the left, we've got elemental and catalytic. Those are two different types of runes. The elementals are the elements, the catalytics are the other ones. You want to keep those numbers as even as possible. To get a point in each, you need to get at least 100, and then as you get more, it's basically a percentage of 1 to 100. So if I get 48, I have a 48% chance of getting a point. But you want to keep those numbers about as even as possible because you can only withdraw from the chest an even number of times. So if you have 5 in elemental and 7 in catalytic, you can only pull 5 times from the rewards chest. So keep them as even as possible. And what I generally do is, because there are certain catalytics that are worth some money and that I want to runecraft, and some that I can't, I will runecraft the catalytics that I want if they're available. So that's deaths, natures, and cosmics. Otherwise, I will just runecraft the elementals. Just keep them even. Make sure you'll usually get around 250 to 350 minimum doing this. There are certain point totals to each rune, but in a group setting, it doesn't very much matter. I'll put it up on the screen now. You can see from weak, medium, strong, overcharged. That's going to depend on how much you can do other things. Like next thing, once we're done rune crafting, we're going to use the essence on the Rift Guardian, and then we're going to run to the barriers and use the cell on the barriers. Now that will heal the barriers if they are weak. You always want to try to find a weak barrier, because if you use it on a full health barrier, you will not get the XP. You'll still get the extra points to your elemental and catalytic for using it, but you will also get extra XP if you are healing it. Now, once you've done that, there's a pool right next to the workbench that we're going to be using. Right click, just deposit runes, so you can deposit everything you've rune crafted, and then you just want to click on the workbench. You will chisel the shards into the essence and make them all, rune pouch up, make another, and then go to your next rune craft. Now, the reason this is a group guide is because the group guide, you don't really have to worry about what tier you're making too much. Just make whatever's available to keep your 2 levels equal. In smaller groups, you will have to care about doing more overcharged and creating guardians and that kind of thing, but most people are going to take care of that for you, so you can just sit back and relax. There is also going to be talismans that you will occasionally get. What those allow you to do is it allows you to enter that altar without it being active. Nothing crazy, doesn't really do a whole lot, but if you get a good one like a nature, you can go and runecraft when you don't have natures. At the end of every round, you will get an XP drop, and then once you are done and you want to claim your rewards, you exit the gate. Now, you don't have to do this after every game. They will stack in there, and it is kind of a pain to get in currently because there's a max limit of 100 players, and you can't enter while a game is going on. So only exit when you know you're done or you need to repair your pouches, but you'll exit, go to the little guardian chest to the right here, and search. Now, for the things you can get out of here, you can get abyssal pearls, which are the big thing. That's what we use to buy some of the other rewards. You can get an intricate pouch, which will have a drop table shown right here. Atlas's diary is useless. You'll get the abyssal needle, which you can use to combine all 4 rune pouches into one colossal rune pouch. You can get an abyssal lantern, which will have a ton of benefits that you can see right here. You will get abyssal dyes, which are recolors for the rune crafting outfit, and then you can get the abyssal protector, which is the pet for Guardian of the Rift. Then you can also get a catalytic and an elemental talisman. Those allow you to gain access to all the elemental runecraft altars or all of the non-elemental runecraft altars. You can also make them into a tiara, and the tiara's gold. It looks pretty cool. And then you can also combine both those tiaras into a hat. You can look pretty cool if you're going to be doing any other rune crafting. Things you can buy with the abyssal pearls. The first one is going to be the full rune crafting set. That's going to cost you 1,600 abyssal pearls. And once you have the full set, you get 60% more runes in your rune crafting. You can get a ring of the elements, which will teleport you near elemental runecraft altars. Then you can get the Guardian's Eye, which is a transformation for the Rift Guardian pet. You can also buy talismans there if you really want to. And that is going to be the end of my beginner's guide to Guardians of the Rift. There is some stuff in this minigame I didn't cover because it's not pertinent to kind of a relaxed group running environment. If I do a solo guide, I will dive into that. That's where you need to know about the cell structures and that kind of stuff a little more deeply. But for this guide, just getting stuff done, getting XP, getting the rewards. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment down below letting me know anything you have questions on, anything you think I might have missed. Feel free to subscribe if you're new here. I do have this and other RuneScape content out. Also, if you want to watch me do some RuneScape in live, feel free to follow my Twitch over at twitch.tv/inFenity. Until next time, I'll see everyone later.